Hey Gordon, good to see you. So I got about a 36-inch old growth fir, and so I'm thinking the main thing we need today is chopsticks and toothpicks.
Have they made chopsticks out of Doug fir, old growth Doug fir?
Yeah, you're looking $4,300 for 150, 200,000 toothpicks. Does that work, Bucky? Good. Howdy. JEB the Builder here. We're on the next phase of toothpick making. About as small as Gordon can do with his mill. So then you cut them down. Yeah, that'll make a couple of nice toothpicks. Yeah, seriously, Coop did not know that she was getting her residency. UCLA, yeah. What? Oh, I gotta go, Bucky. Hi, this is JEB the Builder. In the last episode, we talked about removing diseased trees, the problem we're having with laminated root rot, etc. So this episode, we're going to focus on milling that wood, what we do with that lumber. Those trees and turning into lumber, determining what we need, what we should mill it into, and how to utilize as much of that wood as possible. Most people go to a store, everything they buy, whether it's milk or diapers or lots and lots of toilet paper, Lysol, whatever, lumber. They go buy lumber. People don't ever think about where this all these materials come from and all these products come from. So when you walk into a lumber yard and you see a big pile of perfectly cut beams and 2x4s, etc., that's coming from a forest. You either see a clear cut or you see the final product. So we're going to show you how we take a round tree and make square material out of it. So we've got some good footage with Gordon the Sawyer on this episode. One of the trees that we took down in the last episode is going to be used for building some stairs out here. So we're going to cut it into 26-foot long, what's called the stair stringer, which is the frame of the staircase. So the first step in milling is, of course, getting the trees from the place where we've dropped them. Generally, I let those trees cure for a couple of years. Sometimes we mill them right away, like in this case. So we have to get the tree cut to length that I want and get it moved. So once we get it to the milling site and Gordon shows up with his machine, his wood miser, then I have to keep getting the logs into the cradle, it's called, of his machine. He'll raise the log, it'll drop it on the bed of the machine where he can manipulate it any way he wants. He's got levers and all sorts of things to move it around and then do the cuts exactly as he wants and what I've asked him to do. So in the case of the stair stringer that I had him cut, I wanted to keep him basically splitting the log down the middle. So it is important to take the very center of the tree out of it, out of the log, keep it from splitting as bad. So in that case, he just splits it lengthwise and then does a little bit of trimming to get that heart out of the tree. Trees, as most of you know, I'm sure, absorb carbon dioxide and emit oxygen. So all of that carbon dioxide over the years is sequestered in the body of the tree. And so when the tree falls and rots in the forest, it emits the same amount of CO2 as if you burned it. So just a much slower pace. So at some point, all that carbon will be back into the atmosphere. So when we mill these trees up, all of that carbon is being sequestered within the wood and the lumber that we're milling, which keeps it from going out in the atmosphere, and so it serves a dual purpose. When we do dimensional lumber, which means squared off, he has to roll the log, determine where it's best to start, then he has to create a flat spot on the log. Then he rolls it and gets that flat spot set on the bed of the mill, so he can then move it around and adjust it easier. And then from that point, he just keeps squaring it up and milling off pieces that I need. And a lot of times I don't have a need for as much wood as we have in the particular log. So at that point, I have him mill it into much larger, what we call a cant. So a big beam, and then it is just stored as that beam out here until the next time I have a need, then I can see what we can take out of these cants. So there's quite a few miles of dirt road coming out here, and every winter numerous trees come down over the road. And I always have a chainsaw with me. I just anticipate there's gonna be something to move. So I grab these logs that are sometimes at 6 inches, sometimes they're 34-inch round logs, huge ones. So I take them, clear the driveway, recoup as much of it as I can, the log. And between those and then now with the disease trees, which we have to drop, it's plentiful wood. I always have enough wood for, to sell and to use on my own projects. And the lumber out here, the trees are exceptionally tight-grained, very, very old. And that's due to like soil conditions. He said doo-doo. Etc. And so that makes the wood extremely beautiful and valuable at the same time. Because you'll get a 2-foot tree can be 250 years old, which is incredible. The ones you see out in these logging, basically farms, can be as little as 60, 70 years old when they're that big. So the tighter the grain, the more beautiful the wood, the harder, and it's really sought after. So. And the cool thing out here is we have a lot of different species of trees. When I mill it up, a lot of times it's for my own use, or people buy it, use it for siding, ornamental beams, structural beams, whatever. And then a lot of it I end up milling and is used for interior trim. Like we get some beautiful spalted alder out here, and it just mills up gorgeous. And so it's nice to walk around like my house and other projects that I've done and to look at this, the trim, the beams, stuff is very, very functional, very beautiful, and to know that I've got something that truly is from a sustainable source and again is sequestering all of that carbon that would be emitted otherwise. Thank you for watching episode 2 of JEB the Builder. Please like and subscribe, and next week we are going to go to the beach. We're going to get out of the forest for an episode and talk about shellfish harvesting, doing what we can to keep the shellfish population healthy and eat them, and also show about ways of managing the beach properly, steep slopes around the beach, etc. So please join us for the next one at the beach. Thank you. You got some rejects. Some of this stuff got knots in it, so these just nice. Throw those to the wood stove. Those to the wood stove. Just in there, ones that just aren't gonna quite cut it. Got knots. And that's it. The area's nice and clean. Got a few 100,000 more to make, and my day will be over.